You're live, you're live, you're live. I'm waiting for our guests and everyone else who's going to join us. But we are live. I am happy to be live. And today we're going to be talking about French language. So I'm just waiting to see who joins us. Where's everybody? Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live. And we're going to be talking about French language. And I'm just waiting for some reason for everyone to join in. But I'm also waiting for our guests. For some reason, I can't really see um, if the guest is here. But I'm hoping that when they come in, they will just join the live stream. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about French language, and this is the first time that I am using my phone because I had to use my phone to add a guest. And to be honest, I don't know how it works. So we're just going to we're just going to go with the flow on this one. So today we're going to be talking about French language and hopefully give me 1 second because I want to check on the guests just to I didn't actually message them to see if they were going to join, but I want to check on them just to make sure that they're going to join. Okay, I think that they are here now. So I've added them. Hi, Chingwe.
Hi, Ese. How you
Hi,
doing?
and welcome. How are you
Thank you.
doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. How about you? Are you good?
I'm doing well as well. Are you back in Abuja?
No, I actually stay in Lagos. I'm actually
Oh,
based in Lagos. I came to Abuja for the 360, Canada 360.
but you knew
I,
we were going to be in Lagos, so why did you why did you come to Abuja for it?
I just wanted to,
Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to attend the first one.
Okay. Because I was wondering, did you come to Lagos for it? So yeah, so you live in Abuja. Okay, so
Yeah,
tell me a little about yourself, like what you do for work. I think one of the things that I found interesting was you shared that you learned French and definitely learned it as a second language. How did that
yeah,
happen? So I want you to just tell me a bit about yourself and how that happened, and then we'll dive into the conversation.
okay. Actually, it might interest you or shock you to know I didn't even plan to read French. It was not my
Mm.
intention.
So how did it
Yeah,
happen?
it was. Yeah, it just came on that way. You see, Nigerian thing, admission stuffs. And when I saw French, I was like, French? How will I do it? I've not done French before at that time. No ideas. I knew nothing practically. Then, but I got into French. You see, at first I was scared and I was not very sure of how it would go because I had no idea. And I was going to sit in class with people that did French, in JAM, in their secondary schools and all that. But then, like I always tell my students now, it was an experience for me. And I know what I did. Just a little time, 2, 3 months, and I was okay. Yeah, so I learned French for my degree, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was an interesting and amazing,
So how long was the
course.
program, the French program then?
It was my degree, full course.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's really interesting. So
yeah,
that's really interesting actually. So how would you say it was the experience for you? Did you guys have any bit of immersion where you went to like a French speaking country
yeah,
or
of
was it
course.
exclusively done
Of
where
course,
did you
yeah.
study? Yeah.
I studied in Nigeria in Immigration University. Then I had a 1 year immersion program that was in Benin Republic. Yeah.
Ah, how
and it
did
was
you find
amazing
that?
in there.
Must be nice, eh?
Yeah, it was. It was. At first, in school we could write anything. We could write anything that we could understand, conjugate anything, but they were not speaking. Because we know their environment. And then we didn't know that, like I tell my students now, when you're learning French, you need to have the environment of French. You need to practically involve
Mm.
it.
The
If you don't
immersion is
start,
so important. Mm.
yes, so if you don't start speaking it, you might have everything in your head, but it won't be coming out of your mouth. So there, the program there was just a practical part. Some courses, yeah, lived our life in French for a year, and then that was it.
Hmm. Thank you. That's really nice to hear. So I want to welcome everyone to the live stream. Guys, I have to be honest with you. I cannot see the chat. I don't know. I can't see the chat. That's because I'm joining from my phone, not my laptop today. So I can't see the chat, but I'm trying to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. I want you to start by telling us where you're joining us from. And if anyone is having difficulty joining, like I said, just get a new link. There's a new live link. But yeah. So today we're going to be talking about French language and in particular how it helps your immigration plans because for everyone who doesn't have currently an occupation in high demand, the truth is there's no better way to approach getting a higher CRS score or expanding your French language options than oh, thank you, Edirin. Thank you so much. Everyone else, please let us know where you're joining us from. There's no better way to improve your CRS score than by doing French. I have to be honest with you. And the truth is, compared to every other occupation in high demand, French is probably not likely to go off that list in the next 5, 10 years. And it's not because French language is one of the priorities of the Canadian government. So please let me know where you're joining us from. Edirin from Edo State, thank you for joining us. Everyone else, please let us know in the chat. I'm seeing messages from people saying they're having difficulty joining, but unfortunately, I can't go to your message because I have to exit this to go to your message. So I can't respond to messages. Just let them know to find the page and just join the live stream directly from here. So now I'm going to go back to you. And also, for everyone in the chat, if you've ever tried to learn French, let us know when you try to learn French. For me, I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I tried to learn French twice. Welcome, Lulu
Wow.
from Lagos and Ethel Akban from London, Ontario. I tried to learn French twice, so now I'm a bit familiar with the language. I tried to learn it
Okay.
twice. The first time I tried to learn French was obviously in secondary school, like everyone else, primary school, secondary
Yeah.
school. So I did French. I was I was okay in French, but we had a few people in my school who were native French speakers from Senegal and
Wow.
from Benin Republic as well. So it felt like those ones were always on top of
The
the class
ones,
in
yeah.
French. Yeah, and then the rest of us were just struggling with the French, right? Then the
Yeah.
second time I tried to learn French was when I moved to France. So when I left Nigeria, the first place I moved to was France, and I lived in
Okay.
France for a number of years. So before I went there, I did a number of immersion trainings. I even went to Togo, although I didn't stay there
Oh,
for
wow.
very long. I was there for 3 weeks, I think 3 weeks, yeah. And so there was the immersion training was like they'll take you to restaurants, they'll take you to the markets, and the whole idea
Yeah.
was you go there and you'd
Communicate with
speak,
them.
communicate with the people,
Yes.
and you couldn't speak
Get
English. You
something.
had to do it in French. So they'll take
In
you to a
French.
restaurant and they want you to order your food and just,
Yeah.
but all of it has to be done in French and you're doing it
In French,
yourself.
obviously.
Yeah. And then you go to a market and it's the same experience. And generally, you're just going around and communicating with people. And I think it was really good, that immersion, that little bit of immersion.
Yes.
So I'm coming back to you, Chinwe. Thank you, Lulu. You studied French in uni. What uni was that? And Itel, learning French currently, planning to take the exams soon. So I'm going back to you, Chinwe. So you did a
Okay.
bit of French here in Nigeria, and then you did your immersion. Tell me which part of it helped you to love the language? Because I think one of the challenges that a lot of people face who want to learn the language, especially for immigration purposes, is The interest. So I
Yeah.
want to do it because I want to improve my CRS score and I want to improve my immigration options. But the interest is off and
Yes.
on because a whole new language, a new language is
I
crazy.
totally
I'm telling you,
understand.
it's crazy. It's one of the things I tell people the most. One thing I wish is that as a child growing up,
Yeah.
I had learned like a native language from my parents. They didn't do that. So when I see people speak like they're Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, I
Okay.
really, admire it and I envy them, but I'm not able to
Yeah.
do it. The best I can do
Yeah.
is a bit of pidgin because I'm from the South South. So a bit of pidgin. I'm not even that
Okay.
good at pidgin, right? But
Yeah.
one of the things they always say is, "Ah, if you're not a child, you cannot learn that language again. Just forget about it." How does that work for a completely different? This is not even one of our native languages. This is French language. How does that work as an adult learning a new language? And I'm asking you, and it's so interesting to ask you because you learned it for
Yeah.
higher education. That's the first time you're
Yeah.
learning, and that was your course of study. So how did
Yeah.
that work?
Okay. You see, first of all, okay, let me speak personally first. For me, I just told myself, let's do this thing. Because it was just me and the world, like me and French. And, being my course, is either I do well or, school, I have to linger. So I thought about it. I said, come, you have to love this language, like it, want to know it. And I told myself, Chinwe, it's actually funny. It was actually very funny. Because I told myself, Chinwe, when you are done in this department, you will become French on two legs. That was my
What
decision.
does that mean? What does that mean?
Like a mobile French, like, so competent that I could teach you French without any material. That's what I meant. It was a decision.
Mhm.
And to achieve that, I had to love it. So I put myself in it, enjoyed every process, even if it was difficult. It was not all fun. Because the beginning time, yeah. So for an adult that wants to learn French, you are very correct. You see, most times people just call me, I want to increase my CRS score, and I need to do French. And you come to class, and when I'm doing something, I think about the CRS score. It doesn't work like that. You see, you have to love the language because the approach matters a lot. Your approach to French makes it easy, makes it soft, create an environment where you will learn a lot without even being stressed. So if you are coming to French to do French because of your, yes, of course, I know you are coming because of the exam to pass it for the Canadian, immigration test, proficiency test. But then you have to love the language. You just see, I told my students when you call me for the first 2, 3 months or 4 months, don't talk about the exam. Let's learn French. Yeah, I tell them. I have a lot of students. I tell them, don't ask me, don't if I don't ask me any question about exam for the first 4 months, because that's the time you need to understand the language, communicate, love it. Because French language has to be part of you for you to be able to produce it. And of course, you can't start preparing for an exam in a language you can't control or you can't speak. Do you understand? So you have to first of all love it, be patient with it. Without intention, every obstacle you meet becomes fun because of course it won't be all rosy. At some point you need to memorize. At some point you need to because conjugation and all that you need to memorize because at first everything is new. And if you don't know the language at that point, it becomes so boring because this language, you see, because you don't really want to know it. You're not doing it for a purpose. So the interest is something you could develop even if you don't like it. Because that's your pass key. That's your solution. That's what will make it easy. Because it's something psychological. It's not just mechanical. You have to love something for it to be able to stay with it for a long time, for it to be able to start being like it over time. That's what keeps you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chinwe. My next question is going to be closer to your own personal experience.
Okay.
To learn French as a second language, but your first degree, man, that would have been crazy. I don't know how to
It
imagine
was.
it because I remember that when I did learn French, what happened was from day one, they didn't allow us
Okay.
speak English. And just like I described my immersion program, we were also not allowed
Yeah.
to speak English. So when I was broken French, you're struggling with it, just do it. That was what the rule was. So for you,
Yeah.
learning it in your first degree as a second language, how long did it take for you to feel comfortable without like judging yourself for speaking the language or apologizing? Because I remember I used to apologize a lot to say,
Apologize a
oh,
lot.
yeah, really bad and sorry and all of that.
Okay, like I said earlier, for us, learning French was just like we have to do this degree at first. Okay, and I came in without knowing nothing. Like I practically did not know A to Z in French. I didn't know anything because I didn't plan to read it. I said it before. However, it got to a point. I think after the first few weeks, I told myself, "Come, if you continue like this, you not leave here." That's what I told myself. So that's what I told myself, honestly. And I said, okay, I need to do something because each person knows their strengths and their weaknesses. And I know I've not done this. And I can't just start, keep pretending. So the first breakthrough I had in French was to take 2 months off to study personally, at least
Mm,
to come to class. You know what I mean to come to class?
like
To be in
prepare
that
for
class.
class.
To be in that class. Yeah. Because I didn't know anything. I being a degree course, they won't go and be teaching you some of this A, B, C, D, whatever. They assume you have written into your exam. That's why you are here. Do you understand? So the two
Mm,
months alone I took, and funny enough, I didn't go to school. I didn't attend lectures because I know it would be distracted what I was doing. I took 2 months and I read. I got a grammar book from our grammar lecturer then. That was my first breakthrough. I read that book to the point I was comfortable, first of all. Then, and actually, that's what I told myself sometimes. At some point, you need to sit with this thing because no matter how good your teacher is, if you don't sit with it, it can't be yours. There's no way it can be yours. So I know we are busy. Some people will work wherever, professionalism and all that. But if you don't stick to this thing, what you have been taught will not be yours. See, it's a very, very different thing. It's very different. For me to teach you well and for you to now become it, they are two separate things. So that was one. The second one was, yes, I came to class and then we were not really speaking. After classes, everybody goes home, back to Nigeria, Next day, we'll come to French again and all that. But then I think we learned this when we're in Benin Republic. They just told us, see, don't wait until you get all the French right before you speak. Just start talking.
mm.
So it was very funny. I could remember then my roommates then. Someone told me, will tell me then, fem la door, as in like close the door.
From the phone.
Fem la door. I will be laughing. It was all funny. We're just joking with it. But I was started speaking because
Mm.
maybe at that point he didn't remember what door was in French. I remember there was a day someone went to market to get something, like you said. He was trying to call Pepe. I don't know how you forgot. He had to call us in the hostel. Please, so what is Pepe? But because he was trying to speak. But trust me, that didn't last for a month. After a
Mm.
month plus, everything became okay. Like it was just as smooth as we've been there for a very, very long time.
It was
Because at
natural.
that point, there was no other option. It's either French or French. Taking a cab is French. Having whatever conversation with your neighbors is French. Going to markets is French. Shopping, whatever. Even your lecturers that even understood English will not speak English to you. But
Mm.
because at that point we've gotten a French that was like a basic. We've done French a lot. So it was mainly a practical one. So they intentionally didn't speak French to us. Sorry, they didn't speak English to us at any point. And then in 2 months, I could remember in 2 months, we were just fine. And that was a breakthrough.
That's excellent, Chinwe. And
Thank you.
I feel like a large part of that was because you were in a French speaking country, Benin Republic, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
because you were in Benin Republic, everyone around you was speaking French.
Speaking
But I
French.
believe that for the people who are in the comments today, who are in this chat today, it's going to be a little different because if you are in your own home country, Nigeria, London, somewhere, someone in Benin City,
Yeah.
right? You can finish your French class, you can finish reading the grammar, you can do your Duolingo, whatever it is that you're doing. right? But when
Mm-hmm.
you come out to your reality, it's Pidgin English, it's Yoruba, it's Igbo, it's English language. How does that immersion work in that situation? What kind of tips will you give someone who is trying to learn the language in that situation? Because, like you said, immersion is so important if you're trying to learn
Yeah.
the language. It needs to be repeated, and you also need to continue to
Daily.
speak it. So, how does it
Yeah.
work practically? What kind of practical tips can you give to everyone who's here? Like, what kind of tips can help them to learn the language?
Okay. Like I even told someone, I told one of my students, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I said, obviously, like you just mentioned, it's very important to live in a country where the language you're learning is being spoken. However, I won't tell you now for French, you leave your country, go to France and stay. Or if you're in Africa, go to the close, the near African countries to just, But then the thing is, you can create your environment, which has been working for years. You see, being in a French country is just being in an environment and you can speak French too. Are you still there?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes. Okay, now, today we have, our social media, we have our medias, and they're actually amazing in that respect. They are very amazing because, yes, first of all, I advise my students to make sure they have French radio apps on their phone, on their systems. French radio apps. See, listen to it every time. Just make sure you are consuming. Consumption is very important. Consume French on your channels, TV or whatever. You can subscribe to French channels like France 24. That's France 24. Okay, make sure daily. The truth is, I've noticed and I've seen by experience over the years that if you can keep up 4 hours daily of listening to channels in French, maybe be it radio. And now when I say radio, I don't mean because they have radio French radio that's just for maybe music and romance. Not that. It's also good, but not just that. I
So you
I
mean
started
like
to listen to
news kind of station,
news,
news
France
or
Info.
movies
Yeah,
even?
we France Info, like France Info, France Bleu, TV5, and the rest, where you hear spoken French from adverts to weather forecast to news
Mm.
to studio sessions. Spoken French is important because I'm very particular about the radio and the television because um for the exams you will hear French from different people. From French from France, maybe French, we call it Français Française, France American, that is American speaking good French, Indian speaking good French, Arab speaking, African speaking good French. So if your ear is not open to understand French all round, it might be some accent in your exam you may not understand, even if you are good.
Sure,
It's very important.
what you just said made me laugh for a reason, right? Because, like I told you, I was learning French here with
Okay.
the French instructors here. And then I also
Okay.
did a bit of French in Togo. But you see, when
Okay.
I arrived in France at the airport, the first time I heard a French person speak
It got
French,
lost.
it was like everything just I was like, like
What
everything
I
left
say?
my head. So I
What's
just
that?
remembered that when you were saying it because it's so different the
Yeah.
way everyone speaks French.
Speak.
Mm.
Even if it is good French.
Yes.
Because you see, I've noticed that the human works is so amazing. The human mind, the way it works, is so amazing. Now, even if you are good on this language, I think I've heard some Nigerians that don't like watching American movie. Why? They speak good English. They won't be able to pick what they are saying, but they speak good
Mm.
English because their ears are not aligned to
Mm.
understand that. And how do you align your ear? By consistently listening over time. And I tell my students particularly, don't come back and tell me I don't understand what they're saying, so I'm not listening to it. No, it's an instruction. Just listen to it. Whether you get it or not, just keep listening. The same person that don't understand today will come back in 3 months and say, Monsieur, I'm surprised how I can pick what they are saying. You know, but if you say And of course, it might not be sometimes it's boring when you're just listening to things you don't understand. I have a student right now. When she started some times ago, she said, you know, I told her I said, listen to radio channels. I pointed one particular channel. Don't leave this channel. Make sure you listen to it 3 hours, 4 hours a daily. She took it personal. She was listening up to 6 hours every day.
Hmm.
So at first she was like, come, this is giving Monsieur headache, my head. So just if you are having a
Oh.
headache, just drop it, rest. Okay. Afterwards, pick it. Don't continue when you're already stressed. Later, after like some weeks, she now said, "Okay, now it's no more giving me headache. It's not making me sleep." That what
Oh.
she but 3 months or 4 months into the stuff, she couldn't even remove it again. She was not enjoying herself because your ear takes time, your mind because your mind and your ear has to align. You have to hear this in a
Mm.
lot for you to be able to relate with it speedily because language is about speed. Because we understand English now, we are communicating with speed. If you meet somebody trying to learn English, the person might not be able to hold this conversation with me because the person will be booting, sorry, in quotes, might be booting. So for you to increase your speed, you have to make sure you consistently listen, listen, listen over time. And if you are listening and you're learning, then it's a win-win.
Kai, that's a very good tip, and it brings me to my question because someone has asked it in the comments. Bruce Tico, I hope I'm pronouncing it well.
Okay.
They've asked, right? Is it actually possible for an adult to learn French? Not just to learn French, but to learn it in a short period of time. So, for example, in 6 to 8 months, or 8 to 10 months, or can I commit to it and this 2026 I'll be able to master the language and even pass my TCF? I know that everybody has a different um,
Time frame, speed.
capacity, right?
Yeah.
So some might be faster, some might be slower. But on the
Yeah.
average, is it possible? Because it's one thing to say it can be done, but is it possible?
Okay. Now the thing is this. I will first of all answer you, then I will explain.
Mhm.
Yes, it is absolutely possible. Okay. Now the thing is, we need to understand something. We learn in French. First of all, I said earlier, if you learn French with this mode of urgency, you might spend too much time. Number one,
Mm.
you have to approach it the right way. Okay. Now, for an adult, I've seen people do French in 8. In fact, for you to learn French, actually, honestly, if you come to me, I say you want to speak, you want to learn and speak and interact with French, and just 6 months is okay, just for speaking, understanding. But then, if you want to write a professional exam and you know that your score matters, and score has to do a lot with your high competence. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because most times the higher or the more difficult the question, the higher the mark according to it. So if you want to make a certain score, then I think you should honestly, in all sincerity, have a 1 year plan, averagely. It's possible to be lesser, but I want to try to correct this impression, even if it's just a starter, that don't believe anybody that tells you, come, I will teach you French in 4, 6, 7 months. Let me go 7. Like this one is a no, and you pass TCF as an absolute beginner. It's not possible. Except
Hmm.
you just want to have a low B1, maybe between A2 and B1. But if you want to attain a C1 and a strong B2, to be honest, as an absolute beginner, it might not be real. You might later make it, but don't set your mind at it because it might it might put a pressure on you that will not make you not give your best over time because you'll not learn French purely.
Because you'll be discouraged.
You'll be discouraged. However, I've seen people do it in 8 months. Don't get me wrong. Don't, I'm sounding like this because I've had people that tell you call me today and tell me I want to write the exam in 6 months, and I ask you what's the level of French. You tell me I don't know anything. So we'll start with ABCD. I want to write TEF or TCF in 6 months. Haba. It's not even if we later make it, don't have that mindset because it will put you into too much pressure that you don't even give your best. You'll be rushing through things, and most times things you are learning will not have time to become yours, because language is about production. What you know that you're not producing, not what is passing through your head, or not what you're memorizing. Now, people look for shortcuts, how to memorize things and pass. Yes, if you are good at memorizing, there's a way it could help. You understand? Because yes, if you handle many past questions, it could be an advantage, especially for the written and oral. However, there are parts where you interact with the examiner, the way you sound, your confidence, how easy your flow. Because every seance, sorry, that's French, every part of this thing is recorded. So they will listen over and over again, over and over again. Every sound, every this thing is noted, and it might affect your score. So what I'm trying to say is this: you still need time to familiarize, even if you have known it, to sound like it, for it to flow. Your interactive, competence is very necessary. So that might take a little bit more time, but averagely a year or less. I propose. That's what I propose. But don't come and say 6 months. 6 months, I might assume we'll use 6 months to learn French. Then the next 2, 3, 4 months to prepare for the exam. Yeah.
Okay, so give or take, you need to commit at least 1 year before you start talking about exams.
Yes. No,
So
no, no,
that's
no.
great.
From 6 months, talk about exams. From
Okay,
6 months,
okay.
talk
At
about
least
exams.
6 months before you talk about
Yes.
exams. So
Yeah.
got
Then
it.
we'll start doing past questions and studies towards the particular exam. Yeah.
Now, I have a comment from Ethel Akban. I agree completely with him. I started learning with a licensed language center in April 2025, currently in B2 class now. Will finish in April 2026. Then I plan to revise and take the exam. So now, thank you, Ethel. And Bilulu Viros, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well, says, what is the marking scheme for TEF TCF, like considering we are not francophones? And that actually is heading into my next question. So you can answer a bit of that. Thank you, Naomi. You can answer a bit of that. And then my main question is this, right? I know I haven't taken TEF or TCF. I don't know if you have you? So you have some familiarity with the
Can you hear
exam.
me?
Yeah, yeah. So you have
Yes.
some familiarity with the exam. Okay, so
Obviously.
I do have a question about the exam now. I have taken IELTS. I can't speak to CELPIP, but I can speak for IELTS. And in my experience, the hardest part, I feel like for everybody it will be a little different, but I feel like the hardest part on IELTS is the listening part. And it's the listening part because it's very easy to lose concentration while you're taking an exam, right? But the listening, whatever is played once. So you have to be concentrating enough to answer the question
Questions.
while the recording is being played.
It's
If you
okay.
miss it,
Yeah.
you've missed it. You're gonna have to guess the answer. So you must concentrate. That concentration is a big deal for the listening exam. So I found the listening exam to be the hardest. And coincidentally is the one where you need to get the highest score. So you need a minimum of 8.5 to maximize your scores on the listening test. And that brings me to my question. With TEF, TCF, what have people said is, the most difficult one to approach, and what kind of tips are helpful in preparing for the exam?
Okay. There's a lot of things I will not be able to say here.
Hmm.
But I'll answer your question, but I might not go details.
Yeah,
I
that
might not
works.
point and yeah. Okay. Generally, in recent times, I suggest my candidate take TCF.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's for some personal reasons, and for some reasons, like I said, I can't say here. Generally, TCF seem to be the particular test that are more fair with scoring. Let me use that language.
Hmm.
Are more fair in scoring.
Hmm.
Okay, so I that's very funny. I'm sorry.
Just
Okay, so
concentrate. Just concentrate on the internet. They
okay,
will always have people.
all right, I understand. However, so the TCF is more preferable. I advise my student to go for TCF. Okay, and that's for some personal reason. Like I said, there's been some events and some things that were not, yeah. However, the TCF kind of gives you, in my opinion, gives you what you do, what you sometimes most of the practical questions, the speaking part and the written part, are more practical, something you could normally do to your day-to-day activity. So if you be using your French, maybe to write, talk to friends, encourage them about this or that, ask for information. So you're almost done with the TCF speaking. And the writing part, if you can invite a friend, write a letter to a friend, invite them. You see, maybe you're in an apartment and something goes wrong, you can write in detail in details what happened to what, maybe in your apartment, to possibly the house owner or the person responsible for the building. My point, I think TCF is more practical, more
Mm.
practical. Yeah, I'm not saying easy. People want something that is easy. It's not particularly easy, but it's more practical, something you could normally relate with. And if you're looking to write exam in the next few, things changes. Okay, a lot of things change. A lot of things change over time. Like I said, I will not mention. Okay,
Mm.
before I think I would have preferred TEF 2 years ago, but now TCF seems to be the route that might be best for second language users. Yeah,
Thank you so
thank you,
much, Chinwe.
thank you very much.
Thank you as well. Naomi appreciates the answer. She says, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Afsan says, you're
That was a discussion. That was a
Asan says
distraction.
you're cute, and Asan sent some emojis, and I don't know what they are, but a lot of emojis. I think one is a clown, and one is a love struck emoji, and the last one I don't know what it is. And Naomi is laughing. So yeah, that's where we are now. And I found this really, really helpful even for me. So it's leading me to my next question, which is a big question. Because one of the things that we both said in common was that we had gone at some point to a French speaking country in the
Yeah,
learning process. So I
yeah,
did go a bit to Togo, and then I lived in France. So it kind of helped me with French. For you, you had a full year of immersion in Benin Republic, and of course, that
yeah,
must have been really helpful in your
yeah.
learning process. So, my question is it possible to learn the language without going to a French speaking country? Like, there's no immersion. I'm just doing it in my home country. Um, that's the question.
Absolutely, yes. Like I said, it's about consistency. You need consistency. You know, I really can't start teaching you as my student if you don't agree with me. You be consistent, because in the end we will waste our time. Now, the thing is this: if I tell you start doing something now, I'm telling you to keep on with it. Honestly, I still tell them you're not starting French. You're starting a new habit. That's what I tell them.
Mhm.
Because it's not like you come to class and after class you log out of French till when you come to meet me again. No, there's no logging out.
You must continue.
I've had students that told me after some months they were they were speaking French in their dream. They woke up, I'm like, what's all this? You know,
Really?
because you have to. It's a very serious business and it works. I have to go to the country to do it. But now we develop an idea for you that can go to do and you have French around you. Like you make your environment, your own society, French.
Hmm.
To the point I tell them sometimes if you have a conversation with somebody, maybe if they are intermediates, if they are maybe outside beginners, or maybe I tell them, even if you have had something to say someone, after the conversation, when the person leaves or after the conversation, try and say that thing you said in English. Try and say it in French in your head at least.
Mhm.
Keep the language alive. Don't, don't mind me. I like examples. I'm a teacher, so I like examples. I've had someone that come to tell me in one of my classes that While the pastor was preaching, she was busy interpreting in French in her head in church.
That's crazy.
But it works. It
I can
works.
imagine. Of course, it
It's,
does. It
it
does
works
because
perfectly.
I've heard people say, for example, people who learned their own native language as their first language. So, for example, someone who learned Igbo before they learned English say that for
Okay,
them to understand what someone is saying in English, they have to first translate
put
it
it in their
to
head.
Igbo to like for it to sink. So that makes sense what you're saying. Like then you get a better
So, so,
understanding.
so actually, it's not about just And the thing is, I think about moving is actually you could even go to a French country and still be in Nigeria in that country.
Mm.
It almost happened to us, me and my friends. It almost did. Now, what we
Because
now
you
did
continue to spend more time with yourselves. And if you
with your
only speak
cliques,
English,
with your, do you get? With then you still be in Nigeria. Okay, what
mm,
happened was that we went to the country and they had this hostel. I think that was made up of most of Nigerians and Ghanaians. So we're more or less still in an Anglophone country. So what we did, or what I told my friends to do, about two or three of us, we now have to go and get a house in the city amongst the French people. That's what we did. And it was very, 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 it was very, very funny because at the time we got the apartment, our French was not that strong. We're just mixing because we just arrived. You
mhm.
see, but living in that house for like few months, we had our breakthrough. Why? Everything we want to do, even if you want to make friends, you have to make friends with the locals. If you want to take anything, now we didn't have any other option than to relate with them because we have a landlord. If we have any announcement, anything to tell us, any notice, written, whatever, it must be in French and to come to us.
Wow.
So we have to make sure we left Nigeria and Benin Republic to go to the Benin Republic French.
Mm,
So if you could do that, then you could still create your French environment in your home. You could
exactly.
still it's the
That
same
is
thing.
so true. Especially if you have a community of people who are following the same purpose, like you're all learning the language with the goal of, taking these exams for immigration. So this actually brings me to the next question. But before I go there, someone has commented, Michelle Dore has said, hello, I'm not sure if this has been answered, but do you think it's too late to learn French for the purpose of immigration? Especially for someone who is writing at the end of the year. And then Naomi has said, I guess that's her cosmate. So I and my cosmate went back twice and stayed 3 months each time to continue to speak with francophones. So, Chinwe, to my question, but to everyone, please, if you could leave your questions in the comments so that we could respond to them, or Chinwe could respond to
Okay.
them. But ultimately, what is your thought on it? Is it too late to learn French for the purpose of immigration if somebody is aiming to write it at the end of 2026?
Okay. The question is, when did the person start? When
Mm.
when when did you start? Are you starting after now, or you started before? And even if you're trying going to start preparation now, what's the level of French? I think we've spoken about that already. Now, if you're talking about age wise, if there's an age that someone can't do French again, that is a no no. Okay, because for me too, there's not nothing like you are good with language. No, I only ask you, are you ready to be consistent? Because everybody learns in time. And honestly speaking, French can be very, very interesting to learn. Learning French can be fun. It can be fun, depending on your approach. Now, I have personally taught someone over 50, mark my words, over
Mm.
50, and from ABCD to write to writing an immigration test, and he passed. I mean, someone over 50. Not it was 50 after, it was 50 before he started learning.
Mm.
So for someone I want to write later this year, this is March already. If you're an absolute beginner, I'd have just said push it to like January or February. at least. At least let that be kind of your plan. Don't be pressed by time. Don't have to let the language under pressure. You might not learn well. You might not learn well. Yeah. I think I've answered the question.
Thank you. Yes, you did answer the question. I have a question from Naomi. I don't know either. Naomi says, I see a lot of success rate from candidates writing the exam from Canada. Would you say students writing from Nigeria also have good success rate? Or is it best to write from Canada?
That's a very funny question because I think I've heard something like that before. I've
Hmm.
heard that before. Thing is this, a little scope. I reserve some things for my students actually, but let me share a little.
Mhm.
Why writing, especially the written part of the exam. Okay, because in the end, if it's letter, if the letter, you have to put your name under. They get whatever after writing whatever your name comes. So like I said, I'm not saying a lot of things based on some reasons. However, but just this idea might help someone. So let me just share. Okay, I'm not defend what I'm trying to say. I'm not able to defend it here, but I think um there's politics and whatever to everything we do. The politics, the society, whatever. I don't want to call negative names. All right. But I think it's preferable to write maybe your first name or and maybe another name that doesn't look African on the written part alone.
Mhm.
On the written part alone. Now, and like I said, I might not be able to defend it or talk. I might not be able to talk about it in details. But in case someone, maybe the person asked the question is about writing, or is almost writing. So maybe I your written part of the exam. Just and thing is, literary works don't really require your actual name because the story you are telling don't even exist in the first place. It's just academic work. So after your writing letter, whatever, just write any name you like that might not look African. Not like it's anything or just an advice.
Thank you, Chima. That was helpful.
Okay.
Kate OB2813 has a question for someone who learned French in primary and secondary school in Nigeria. Is it possible to use Duolingo, attend online classes for just 3 months, and then write the TCF exam? Is it doable?
Nah,
That French we learnt in primary and
nah,
secondary school. It depends on the. Let me just
nah.
put a disclaimer and say it depends on the school, oh, but in most cases, that French was not French. It was just,
It was just names and stuffs. That
it's not
French.
French. Oh.
Secondly, okay, I'm saying Duolingo and sorry, I'm saying Duolingo and having an online course. Yes, online course, yes. 3 months, no. Duolingo alone, capital no. Why? If you want to appreciate the language and learn language, you need a teacher. Sorry, I say. You need a teacher, an instructor. Now, the teacher does more than just teaching you. The teacher organizes the classes, organizes the content of that language. The, see, one thing that might make your learning very difficult is learning hazardly. When you're learning things outside the time you're supposed to learn it. If I'm teaching you a particular topic and you go and read and come with a certain topic, some topics, I'll tell you, don't worry, I won't answer this one now. Why? It will contaminate what we are doing now. It won't sit.
Mm,
It won't have a seat on what we are learning. So it will create confusion because we're not ready for that information yet. So that's part of the work of a teacher. He knows where you're going to. He has been there. He knows the route. He knows what comes first and what comes next. So with Duolingo alone, capital no. Even with an online teacher, with an online classes, I run online classes. Actually, I have students home and abroad. It's very possible. We're doing it for years. But for 3 months, capital no. I
mhm.
hope you understand. It's not possible.
I'll just read the other two comments here before I go to my next question. I'm in A2 level approaching B1. I'm referring to the changes in immigration policies. I'm genuinely worried about that. Oh, I missed that. For the purpose of immigration. Oh, Michelle, I'm going to come back and respond to that, okay? I guess it's still the same you and you just changed your name. So I'm going to come back and answer that and speak on the immigration part of it. But I wanted Chinwe to be done and then we'll conclude with the immigration part so that we can let Chinwe go.
Okay. Okay.
Naomi says the exam fee is no joke. Oh, so I'll just wait. And she's not lying. The exam fees are quite a bit. So it makes more sense to just be calm and learn it and be sure of your competence level before
Yeah.
doing trial and
We
error
join it.
with those exam fees, to be honest. Um Onyinye is leading me to my next question. It's not Onyinye, Onyinye Moneke. Please pardon me if I'm not correct, but I know it's Onyinye. A bit of it is Onyinye. How do I register for your
Okay.
online classes and what is the cost? And that was going to be my next question. So you do teach online classes. What's the format for these classes? How is if somebody wants to register from here, how are they able to register for it and how much does it cost?
Okay. First of all, the standard around 6 hours classes weekly. So 6 hours could be divided into 2 days in a week or 3 days in a week.
Mhm.
If it's 3 days in a week, then 2 hours per class. Okay. And yeah, the cost. I run. There are two classes you could join: the private class and the group class. Okay. For the group class, it's 70K monthly.
Mhm.
Then for the private classes, it's 90K monthly. I hope you get my point. Now, if you register with me, you're not buying anything else. No, I send you my materials. I have my PDFs, audios, videos. So, you're just getting your writing materials and your dictionary. Okay. Yes. I don't know if I've answered all the questions. Is there anyone I'm missing out?
Oh, you answered the cost. The format. What's the format for the learning? Like because you said it's they're online classes and they're open to people from around the world. So what's the format?
Yeah.
Yeah. Michelle is saying that your prices are very affordable. Um,
Okay.
what's the
Thank you.
format for learning? So do
Okay.
you teach on Zoom or WhatsApp or how?
Okay. I teach through Google Meet.
Okay.
Okay. Google Meet, sharing of screen, sending materials, practicals, and all that. Live. It's not written. It's not going to read. Like we have class like this, interactive. I teach you. You get make your notes, give assignments to submit to me via WhatsApp. Just take a picture of what you've done because I prefer you writing. I don't like you typing for my assignment because we have autocorrect. You need to be sure what you're writing. Add the accents. Everything is very important. So yeah, that's how I do it online. Yeah.
Onye also wants to know what is the duration of the classes. I think we lost him there. I think we lost him, or maybe it's me. Is it me? Please let me know if you can see me. I think something is going on with his network. So while he's trying to get back, I'm going to answer your question when it comes to immigration. What exactly do you mean by the changes in immigration? The honest truth is, when it comes to French language proficiency, I wouldn't worry about it. I would instead just focus on passing my exams. Oh yeah, back to we'll come back to that since Chinwe is back. So Chinwe, Onyi was asking what is the duration of the classes.
Okay. Yeah. Duration depends on the learner, your speed. Okay, your teacher is not going to learn anything to come and teach you. Your speed determines. That's why I said I have a time frame, but I can't dictate for you. So if you want to be faster, be more committed. Okay, be more committed because if I'm teaching you, I'm literally holding your hands through the courses. I won't leave you behind. What I mean is, I won't go to C when you are still struggling with B. If not, C, language is connected. Everything is connected to each other. So if you don't understand this, I won't go to that because that has to sit with this in your mind. So if you want to be faster, want to reach in 8 months, don't tell me you are getting it. And I love it when I'm teaching and you're getting it. I fly. See, I literally fly. I love it when we're going and I feel like you are following me. I feel it now. You get, as I'm saying something from previous stuffs, you're answering me. Your response, like the standard I use actually is this. I tell my students, the moment you are saying, maybe I'm asking for passé composé, for example. I think you know passé composé, a compound tense in French.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and you're telling me, I think it's maybe I'm asking you for, okay, this verb. What's the line for this verb? You're saying, maybe it's. I think it's. I tell you, you don't know it. Once you are still thinking, you don't know it. If you know it, you won't think. Do you get? You won't think when you know it. So the standard I use is know this thing to the point you could teach it without and with examples without your book. What I'm asking, I'm not giving you time to boot, even if I do sometimes something, as I've asked you, you've answered me because it's already in you. Then we'll go to the next thing. There's no point wasting your time anymore. I don't know if you get to my point.
Yeah, I get the point.
So the duration, like I said, just have a 10 to 1 year plan. Your speed of apprehension, the way you followed, how fast are you? And I think if you want to be very fast, you might consider the private class. If you want to be very fast, if you think you can be faster, then go for the private class. Maybe nobody will be disturbing you, or because every group class will have to run with the speed of the group. I think you understand.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, Chingwe. And hello, Chauhan. Hello, sir.
Thank you.
He says hi. Thank you so much, Chingwe. It's been
Thank you
very
very much.
helpful, and you shared a lot of helpful tips for everyone who wants to learn French. Like I promised them, I was going to end with the immigration beat, but I wanted to let you go because I mean,
Okay.
you may not
Thank
want
you
to
very
hear
much.
that beat of it. So,
Thank you very much.
um, uh, okay, Naomi is asking a question, so maybe we'll take her question before we hear your final
Okay.
words. Okay, Naomi is saying, as someone who is into French newbie, she's not a newbie because she also learned French. Uh, she studied French in University of Ibadan. I hope I'm not mixing it up, Naomi. I think that's what you said. She's asking, how did you kill the exam fear? I don't think he's done the exam, but how did you kill the exam fear? That fear has held me down for 2 years.
You see, if you are into French, thank God you said you have realized it's the fear, not the exam.
Mm,
So yeah, I think not being a newbie to French doesn't really guarantee that you pass it. Obviously, let's be very factual.
because you need to continue
Okay,
to. My French is
you
not as
need
good
to
as it was when I
practice.
was doing it every
You have
day.
to practice. You see,
Mm,
your family. You have to be familiar. You have to be familiar with the question, with the exam format, with the standard of the. You have to be very, very familiar.
very
See,
true.
I've had people that are even that were born in a French country, studied, had their degree in French. Now they come to me to learn how to pass the exam, not to learn French. So it's one thing to know French. It's another thing to now know the exam. The exam, the test is in a language. That's why you have French. But then, do you know the structure? Do you know the kind of question? Or do you want to go to the exam hall and the questions are still strange? The question types, you know what I mean? Not like you have seen the question before. You know what to expect. You have tried a lot of examples and similar questions. So if you have the French already, just take 2 3 months. If you have French already, take 2 3 months and study, get past questions, get materials, ask someone that is in the line that knows about the exam, possibly has taken the exam or has an idea, good knowledge about the exam. When I mean good knowledge, I mean even past questions and how to approach it. What's the exam looking for? Where do you bring what and what is very, 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 very important. With that, then don't there's no fear anymore. You see, I think she's scared if she's a lady because you have not practiced, you have not approached it. Most fears are for the unknown. Go for it.
She
Approach
says she
it.
knows she's ready. She just needs
Do
to
you
cast the
get?
fear out. Yeah.
No, the thing is, don't. Okay, now let me ask her. I know she can't answer me, but let me ask her. She might answer on the conversation. Now,
Yeah.
if you have learn French or you know French. If you are scared, then what do you want people that are learning ABCD now, learning article now? What do you want them to do? Do you get? If you can, you have attained French. Just approach the exam. Do you get? There's no fear. I don't see anything to be scared of. I think you are. I think you are afraid to try.
Yeah.
She's afraid to try. So kill that one. Kill that thing. Go for the exam. Go for past questions. See, even if you are French, it won't do you any harm to pay someone to teach you for a month. Get familiar with this thing. Know what you're expecting. And once you recognize what you're expecting, then the rest is history.
Thank you
But
so
if you don't know
much.
what you're expecting, for the next 5 years, you'll still be here, being scared of it. Go
Mm-hmm.
for it. Go for it.
I'm going to take yes, the devil is a
The
liar.
devil is a liar.
I'm going to take a comment from Chowhan JK07. And Chowhan JK07 says, listening is a major hurdle for me. How to tackle it?
Okay. Can I come in?
Hmm.
Like I said, listening is an art. I'm not saying it's very easy, but I'm telling you now. I tell my students actually, you won't prepare to write the exam next month or next 2 months, and you want to start listening today. It's not possible if you're a beginner or if you're still learning. The day you are learning ABCD is the day you should start. Don't wait until you are a pro before you now start listening. Because even if you are a pro, your ear still needs that amount of time a beginner would require to still hear the same thing. Do you get? So if you want to overcome listening, just listen and keep on listening, listen and listen. Just don't worry if you understood it. Don't worry if it's making sense. Try no, just try me with this. I'm so sure about this. I'm saying like this. I'm so sure. You see, some people tell me I love podcasts where someone will be explaining you. It's good, but even if you don't have all that, take this. What I'm telling you. Listen to French channels 4 hours daily,
Mm.
especially if you are studying with whoever you're studying with. Listen to French channels 4 hours daily for 3 months. Then come back and tell me how far.
That's a
It
really good
works.
tip.
See, it
That's a really good
works.
tip, because
It
when I
works.
was learning the language, they gave me a tip as well, and I thought, but I'll tell you, it
Okay.
helped and it made a huge difference for me. What they told me was,
Yeah.
you like Netflix, right? Whenever you want to watch your
Get it.
movies, don't
Yeah.
watch your movies in English. Watch it exclusively in French. So I was watching exclusively in French. You can keep your subtitles in English, but you watch exclusively in French. The
In
whole
French.
idea is to familiarize yourself with the language. And I think it's so similar with what we did with Indian movies. I know that there was a time when Indian movies were in vogue,
We're
but after a while,
everywhere.
you
Yeah.
hear Nehi and you know what it means, right? You hear those things and nobody ever
Yeah.
told you what it means, but you
Do you
know because
get?
you've heard it so many times and you even know how to say it, the right way to pronounce it. The only
Yeah.
reason is because we were listening so much
Over
to these
time.
languages
Yeah.
that we were listening to their music, listening to them speak the language. It just
Yeah.
became second place for everybody. Like it
Yeah.
was some things they would say today, you still
You'll
recognize
still
it.
understand what it means. See, actually, the human mind is so magnetic, more than how we think. We want to understand before we go into it. The mind just wants you to repeat it.
Yes. Yes.
Just that's
Repetition
why
is the best way to
that's
learn.
why I don't take it easy with my students. When I ask you, did you listen to your radio today? You are telling me no, and it will be at night. Why didn't you listen today? Even if you were driving, I tell them just put. You have earpods. If your work can, if they will not be angry with you at work, or if it will not be wrong for you at work to put one earpod on, not two, just one. Reduce the volume. Just make sure that thing is entering your ear. Even if you're not paying attention like this, make sure your ear receives French 4 hours daily. It works magic over time. I tell you the truth.
Thank you
It
so much.
works magic.
The tips you've shared today have been priceless. I hope that people, those who missed it, can come back and watch and learn from it. But
Yeah.
there's something we must not miss before we leave. And Ezinio
Okay.
Obioha is asking for your contact details. So if someone has joined us, they've listened, they've learned, and they realize, oh my God, I want to learn with Chinwe. How can they
Okay.
contact you?
Um, I can drop my WhatsApp number here. Then you can still go online if you want to, but it's still the same thing. You will have my informations. Okay. You can go to www.studyfrenchnow.com.
That's your
And like
website?
I said, yes, that's my website. Then I don't know why I can't. Can I comment here?
Yeah, maybe you can try. I can't. If I was able to, I would have
I
just
can't
talked to
either.
you,
I can't
but I
neither.
can't. So maybe what we can do is when it goes live, because it will go live, just leave a comment with it and I'll pin it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
www.studyfrenchnow.com.
.com. Then my WhatsApp number, I will add it to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So just contact me, chat me up. I'll take it up from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chinwe. I mean, this has
Thank you.
really been helpful, and thank you for sharing your time. You've given us 65 minutes, a little more. I told you it would be 1 hour. So thank you so much. And hopefully, everyone
Thank
who
you.
wants to contact him, go on his website, www.studyfrenchnow.com. And
Yeah.
so let me know if you have any final words. And just before you go, guys, we're still going to talk about the immigration because someone asked a few questions about the immigration end and how French works. But I didn't want to keep Chinwe for that. So once he's shared his passing words, then we'll discuss that and then we'll end. So probably another 5 minutes. So go ahead.
Okay. So I will leave you with this. I if I had known French was this interesting, I would have chosen it by myself. Honestly, I tell people, really, okay, I love teaching and I love teaching French particularly. Now because it makes sense. I've heard people say French is confusing. They don't pronounce what they write. They a lot of things. But truth
or,
is,
or
French
the or
grammar,
the genders, that one is a
the
big thing.
genders, yeah, and all that. See, French language grammar rules are so relatable if you understand it. Like if you and there's no confusion. Yes, there are a lot of exceptions. Friend will tell you this happens, but doesn't happen to this and that and all that. See, don't be discouraged. French is very interesting. And see, one of my students told me something some months ago. I think sometimes last year. The day she called me, she wanted to start French. She was just so shaky. I was like, I've had your number for like 2 years. Imagine, she said she had my number for like 2 years, but the fear of French didn't allow her to contact me anywhere. But she was like, even as I'm calling you now, I just want to break the fact that I've not called you for a long time. You see the fear of French. And okay, I said, let's just start. This same person, 3 months into the game, told me, no, see, I'm no longer afraid of French. Like she said she know I'm not done. No, I'm not done, and I know I still have a lot to. But now I know what like I can see French. Like I'm in it now. I know what I'm doing, and I'm no longer scared of it. You see, because it's actually very interesting. So don't let yeah. I know for the immigration purpose that's why you want to do French, yeah, but don't come with that reputation of French you have in your mind because actually French language is a very beautiful language. Some people call it language of love, language of romance, language of light, because French expresses things in details that even English will always try to catch up. So just go for it, and in a few months' time, you'll be very happy with yourself. And one more thing, please. There's no way you will pass TEF or TCF that you will not have gained French for your life. Is that
Mm.
don't forget that. So as you're trying to learn French for TCF, remember it's easier to learn than to forget. You can't forget it again. That means French has become part of you for life. And you can also share. So let that be an encouragement and enjoy yourself while doing French. Thank you very much for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much, Chinwe.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Essay.
enjoy the rest of your day, and I hopefully don't forget to leave a comment. But when it comes up later, maybe within an hour, you can check and then leave a comment, or you
Okay.
just send it to me, and I'll put it up myself. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you,
Okay.
Essay. Thank you, everybody, for having me. I'm so
Yeah,
grateful.
thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.
Yeah.
And yeah, so really grateful to Chinwe. Thank him so much for coming on. And you guys, to be honest, I wanted to talk to you about French. So to be honest, when you learn French, a lot of us think it's just for immigration. But if you go look at Canadian job sites, whether it's LinkedIn, Indeed, one thing that you find in common on all of them is that we have jobs that are solely for French speakers. It means that if you truly learn the language the way you're trying to learn it will also help you a lot with settling in Canada. And to help you because there are jobs that are exclusively, in fact, many government jobs, French is required. You can't be Prime Minister of Canada without speaking French, or a minister. You need to speak French. If you listen to our ministers when they give speeches, you will see that they speak English and they change to French and they go back to English and they speak French. You must be French speaking. So for most government jobs as well, there are some that they will say it can be English and French optional, but there are a lot of them where it is French imperative. So you need to also speak French to get the job. Now, if you come in with that French speaking ability, it means it will help you stand out in your own career paths. No matter what you're doing, there will always be people who are looking for people who do it exclusively in French. That's one. And someone said for the immigration, real Michelle, I think it was you. Please come back and let me know what you mean by that for the immigration. As much as a lot of things are changing, the French language pathways are not going to leave. Yes, most jobs require bilingualism. The French language pathways are not going to end. Okay. I don't believe, even as a lot of people are clamoring for it, that the express entry category for French language would go off anytime soon, at least for the next 5 years. But if for any reason it does go off, it's not going to change the fact that French will be in high demand. All it will mean is that the federal government will have to introduce a new program to bring those people in. And the reason is because it is a constitutional requirement. It's one of the if you read a lot about Canada, if you read a lot about the secession desires of Quebec and all of that, it's because Canada constitutionally is a bilingual country, but in practice, not so much. So we have Quebec, where French is exclusively spoken, but that's the only province where it's exclusively spoken. And then we have New Brunswick, that is a bilingual province. So they speak English and they speak French. And you have a little bit of French in Manitoba, but other than that, it's not widely spoken Canada wide. The goal of the Canadian government is to make sure that there are people everywhere, whether Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, BC, everywhere in Canada who speak French. That's the goal. That's why Express Entry has this as the first occupation in high demand. So if you study French today, it's not just going to be for 1 year and then to go off. That's more likely if you're trying to transition into one of those occupations that are in high demand, like healthcare that has been on the list since it started, or a STEM occupation, because some of them go off, some of them come on, right? That's more likely to happen in those categories, but not in French. And even if French goes off express entry, it will return in a new program. That's one. Secondly, provincial authorities are also looking for people who are bilingual. New Brunswick in particular, sometimes Manitoba as well. A lot of them will continue to do this as long as they continue to get incentives from the federal government. So that French will also not, this will be an advantage for you on the second level. Now, if you have an occupation in high demand, but what you're struggling with is a low CRS score, French also gives you an advantage because it helps you to boost your score. So you have an occupation in high demand, but your score is low. You cannot meet the draws for your occupation. Even if you cannot pass French to CLB 7, if you get a CLB 5, it will give you additional points. Those additional points will also now help you to pass it. So it will give you those points. You could get up to 25, 50 points, and those 50 points will help boost your CRS score enough for you to get an invitation, even if it is not under French language proficiency. So there's provincial, there's additional points just for CLB 5. There's French language proficiency draws, which are the lowest scores you would see. We have 399, which just happened this week. I mean, this week? Yeah, this week that just passed, 399, right? So there are no kind of draws. But another one that a lot of people overlook is the Francophone Community Immigration Program. It's also there. It's a program where you apply for a job, you get a job offer in a rural community, you are able to go apply for a work permit, go and start working in that rural community, and then you are able to process your permanent residence application. So you're not going to run out of options if you are able to do the French. Your job and my own advice and my own charge to you today is go and start. Start where you are. Start today. Listen to all the tips that we've given. Watch your movies exclusively in French. You have to start somewhere. If it's Duolingo, do it. Add it to your movies that you're watching in French. do a lot of that. Just play it, even if you're not watching it. Let it be playing in the background. You be hearing it, right? Have it in your earphones. If you don't have earphones, go get earphones because this is mission learn French. It's a year, it's a year where you're learning French, right? So you've got to get that going. If it's the earphones, you need get the earphones. If it's a Netflix subscription, you need get it. If it's a podcast subscription, if you need to uh, get YouTube, what do they call that YouTube? What's it called? The YouTube thing. Get that done. Ultimately, just get the French in, learn the French, because the French can make a difference in all these ways that I've mentioned. So, yes, mission learn French, hashtag mission learn French. So, for every one of you who's been on this live, my belief is this time next year. This time next year is what? March 2027, you would be receiving an ITA at the very least. You would be getting into the pool because you've passed TCF or you've passed TEF and you are ready to get an ITA under French language proficiency. And of course, the sky is your limit once you do that because settling in Canada will be a lot easier for you with French language proficiency. So I hope that you have enjoyed our time together today. We spent 75 minutes. I hope that you've learned something. If you have any other questions, you can share them. And I'll be back again next week, either on Friday or on Sunday, and we'll talk about something new. If you have something specific you want us to come on and talk about, you can always send me a message or send me an email. Yes, Naomi, feel free to book a consultation. Yes, Ethel, you'll be my neighbor. Amen. And you are processing it for us after the ITA. Hallelujah. Father, grace the due. Amen. Ejiri, I'm sure you're from Delta like me. Thank you, Ese Umoh. Thank you so much. Thank you, Naomi, and any online French tutor. Yeah, we were just speaking to Chinwe. Chinwe, he tutors in French and he does it on Google Meet. He's also shared his rates, so you can reach out to him on www.learnfrenchnow.com. He's also going to share his phone number, and I'll leave all of them in the comments so you can always find it. And I wish you guys the best. And if you want us to talk about something specific in our live stream next week, you can let me know. And I will figure out how we'll do it or get someone to come on here and share with you. I'll see you guys next week. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and all the best with Mission Learn French this year. Yes. Stegamaya said, is that it? Is that what? Yes, we're done. We've been here for some 5 minutes. You joined us late, but you'll be able to catch the replay, okay? And then you see all the tips that we shared on learning French. So thank you, Adebisi. Adebisi, you didn't even leave a comment. I just joined. This is the first comment I'm seeing from you, but thank you. Naomi wants us to talk about the study route. Okay, we can do that. Next week, we can definitely do that. So we'll see. Yeah, we can start with that conversation. I think that will be an interesting conversation. So let's do that next week. And I will see you guys next week. So next week we're going to talk about the study route. And we'll either have it on Friday or Sunday. So I'm going to leave a poll and find out when you guys want us to have it, either Friday or Sunday. And then we'll start with that one. So enjoy the rest of your week. And if you missed, it's usually 8 p.m. West African time, 1 p.m. Mountain time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So depending on your time, you can figure it out, or you can just turn on the notification when it comes up. But I'm going to leave a poll so that people can vote when they want it to be. Next week, we're going to be talking about the study route and using it as a pathway to move to Canada for immigration. So I'll see you guys next week. And if you came in late, please try to catch the replay of this. It's going to come up shortly after we end the live. It's good for you to catch it because Chinwe did share a lot of helpful tips. We talked about a lot of helpful stuff. If you want to approach TEF or TCF, this live is going to help you a lot. All right, so 8 p.m. next week. Keep it a date. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.